Hey guys, it is May 4th? Yes, May 4th. It is a Tuesday, and I actually want to do a runoff of Caleb. He's at sircaleb1965, and he discussed in great lengths about um, we are many different flavors, but we all are under the same umbrella. And he came up with some very good points because I guess I've seen it too on the tube and just really haven't uh, thought about doing something about it. Uh, it. It has to do with where a person personally, on a personal level, identifies with themselves uh, regarding their sexual orientation, regarding their own perspectives, their views, their beliefs, um, their gender, and there's a lot going on now in our world as we know it, the United States of America. Uh, LGBTQ community has made great strides towards marriage equality. Even though Illinois shot it down, I think they're going to be picking it up. Um, the Supreme Court, the Prop 8 for California, and then of course the Don't Ask, Don't Tell has been repealed. So, there's a lot going on. And in our generations, the difference in our generations is probably what shows a difference in how we view things, what we think things are, how we react to things, how we live, how we identify. And here on YouTube, it has given us a freedom to express ourselves, and it's a personal journey. When you go on other people's videos, I would hope that there's not somebody out there just to watch people's videos of life-changing experiences just to cause a commotion, to cause a reply, to cause derogatory because that person or those people you don't agree with. Um, Also, YouTube has given us a freedom of speech, which is one of our constitutional uh, privileges as an American. And I'm not going to go into gay, lesbian, bisexual, all that. Let me just kind of surface that. In the gay and lesbian world, there are all kinds of people who fit, if you want to call them stereotypes. You've got butch, you've got femme, you've got your feminine guys, then you've got your masculine guys. But in general, people in these under these labels, and again, it's an umbrella label. There are people that are just want to live their life, and they don't identify as anything really. They just identify as who they are. And again, a label is what others perceive you to be. So then you get into bisexualism, and there was a time frame where people didn't understand bisexualism. How can somebody like both sex? You know, and again, that was judged and labeled. But these people fell in love with people for who they were, and that was what was explained to me. From a bisexual person. They didn't look at gender as being the most important thing. And then here came trans. Now, to me, I have always identified as male inside. I haven't lived it, but I've always identified as it. As far as labels, I am a trans man. I will never, ever have a biological penis in which makes a cis male. And so that's what I call myself. That is my understanding of my body. Um, Again, I'm not one for labels. But we're going into this trans world, and many things are opening up for us. People are starting to identify that people aren't all what they seem to be, that there are other things that go on, and that our rights and our health and our mental health has is needed in our benefits. Uh, they no longer look at us as a mental disorder. I'm sure there's still people out there that think of anybody outside of their little community is uh, has a mental disorder. But you now we're opening up the gates for trans. LGBTQ community has really fought a good fight for many, many, many years. And they're finally starting to feel some fresh oxygen in their lungs over it. We have a president who acknowledges this and who's willing to go out of the norm to push for more equal rights for all Americans. And of course, he even gets slammed. So it doesn't matter. I'm finding it doesn't matter how you perceive things, or how nice you are, or how good you are. There's always going to be somebody who wants to start something about something you said, something you did. In our trans world, there are many, many types of trans men and women under this umbrella. As Caleb said, and I encourage you to go listen to him. He brought this to the table. I told him I was going to do a runoff of it. But there are many different types of people. Caleb identifies as male. He doesn't really identify as trans male. You've got I've only seen younger guys in transition, female to male, that they don't identify, uh, their sexual orientation has changed. Um, and I'll be honest with you, I don't understand that. Who am I to judge? For so long, we who didn't fit the traditional heterosexual person uh, fought ourselves for many years. And we expect these people to open up their eyes, get out of their box, and just say, hey, things are different. Not everybody's the same. Not everybody's made the same. Could I sit here and tell you why? No. Could I sit here and tell you what I think? Yeah. I look at my own life. I have many theories on my own life. I have a theory about why I wasn't born a boy like my father thought I was, because of how my father was. I thought about maybe I wasn't born a boy because maybe I wouldn't have captured and engulfed the sincerity of life, um, to uphold life as a valuable treasure. Maybe I just would have went day to day and did my thing and not thought about another person and been considerate. Those are kind of things that maybe I justify myself. I don't know. But that's how I think about myself. And, it's asked, would you do this all again if you knew you could transition earlier in life? Would you do it? Or part of me says yes, and part of me says I embrace who I am as an individual. And so in that, the reason why I'm responding to this video that I'm doing a runoff is because people get so irritated and they get agitated because someone says something and they don't agree with it, so they want to go and try to start an argument or make a comment that's really derogatory. And basically, to me, that shows your ass. It doesn't show the person doing the tape, unless it's really the person doing the tape is derogatory towards humankind, then go for it. You know, that person deserves all that. But if a person's expressing themselves, if a person's just, you know, out thinking how their eyes see and talking what they think, there's no reason to come against those guys. I mean, you've got to let go. In the same reason you want the stereotypical heterosexual person to accept your sexual orientation, your gender identity, your color of skin, whatever, your culture, is the same thing you need to do towards your brothers and sisters. And he talked about Facebook. Um, well, let me get back to this real quick. There are a lot, when I talked about a lot of, there's a lot of different things under the umbrella. Not every trans man's alike, just like not every cis man's alike. Not every trans woman's alike, not every cis woman's alike. There are general things that we're alike. Why? Because we've been born in America, for those of us who have. We've been taught that we should go to school, that education's important. We've been taught, a lot of us, I, I hope most of us, have been taught how to say yes ma'am, no ma'am, be respectful of your elders, open car doors for the women, take care of the women. The women are taught to cook for their men and take care of the household and all that stuff. And that doesn't mean you don't have to have a job. You can't have a job. It doesn't mean I'm talking about going back to the cave days. That's not what I'm talking about. These are values that we are raised as human beings. And when we are taught these things, we're taught to respect, to love, not to judge, to care, to be considerate. You grow up kind of being a balanced person. And in your personal walk, if you have to face uh, that you're trans, or you have to face that you're gay, or you're a lesbian, or that you don't fit in either of those, you're bisexual, or now it's pansexual, genderqueer. I don't even know all the labels, and I hope I'm not misrepresenting any of them. But it doesn't mean that you can't be a different person. The values are still taught in here. Who we are as individuals is only that. It's our actions, it's our reactions, it's our responses, it's our how we hold ourselves, how we speak, how we listen, how we care, and how we love. Not everybody's the same. So if a trans guy, let's say, doesn't see himself as trans, but just as a male, then you respect that. Trans guys, you can't go, how can you even think that way? How can you even be that way? Here you are medically transitioning, and you would have never done that if you weren't transferring your ways to this male body. You gotta let all that stuff go. In the same sense that the younger generations are coming up with the pansexuality and the gender queer or just queer and all that, the same way you want older generations to embrace that is the same way you've got to let go of what you think other people should be. The only person that should be concerned about how things are, how people act, how people react, how they are considerate, loving, and caring is yourself. If you don't fit that, work on it. But if you don't fit it and you're angry over something, and so you're on a hate trail to put everybody else down, man, what are you gonna conquer? Really? The binary. I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Excuse me again. I don't think anybody. I don't believe there's no two people alike in the binary. We have an idea of what it's supposed to be. But let me tell you, people, there are little communities within our own community. Under this umbrella, as Caleb said, there are many different flavors. There are many different walks. And no two people are alike. But we do have sub-communities under this umbrella. We have your religious communities. We have your far left communities. We have your far right communities, non-religious. We have people that are never even have heard of trans or been around or subjected to gay and lesbians in communities. So when one sees one or one hears about one, of course, uneducation, if you're not educated, how do you react? Ignorant, you know. Um, you just, it exists and it's always going to exist because we are people of tradition in ways. There are a lot of people trying to break that tradition. So let's say we get pansexuality and all that stuff out in the open and everybody accepts that. It's freedom. It's peaceful. And then we got generations that start coming up and saying, well, I don't really agree with all that. I feel this way. And then they start revolving and changing the cycle again. You see, cycles happen in the human life. Look, my mom used to tell us kids when we were little that we used to making fun of her clothes because they weren't the style. And she goes, you just wait. They're going to come back in style. And by George, by the time I was a teenager, in my early 20s, they were back in style. It's a revolving door. I think that what we need to do as brothers and sisters in this country is not look at what people are doing and not doing, or who they are or what they are not. Accept an individual. And when I say acceptance, it doesn't mean you have to be best friends with that person. And it doesn't mean that you have to understand it all. It just means you say, oh, they see things a little bit different than us, but who am I to judge them? Um, you know, uh, Going to Facebook. Facebook is a very social place. And like Caleb said, it talks about everything. It talks about religion. It talks about politics. It talks about animal abuse, child abuse. Everything that goes on in this or not even in the United States, in this country, in this world, you can find it on Facebook. And what happens is, and it's happened to me, you get somebody that's your friends or something and doesn't have the same, let's say, political views as you do. And you start liking some pages because you like what they're saying. And then that person's like writing derogatory stuff because I'm a Democrat, they're Republican. Okay? Uh, and you're not looking for a fight. You're not looking for an argument. You're just sharing what you like. And then you go and I'm really a person who tries to not change religion, but ch- I'm really trying to change how you view it. That it is what it's worth, but it doesn't mean it's the thing. And I'm not talking about God, creator, or anything like that. I'm talking about religion. These rules that they've made up. So when I see something that says something good about the Lord loves us all, I repost that. I've gotten flack about that. And honestly, I have literally had to befriend people and even a family member because it was like they could say something, but I wasn't allowed to. So here we go. When someone's posting something, it's just what they're thinking. If it's a bad post, I mean, if it's derogatory, yeah, sure, ream them up and down. I mean, if they're prejudiced, if they're cramming religion down your throat and saying you're going to hell, sure, you have a right to say, okay, and you? I mean, but there's no reason to react to another human being because of what they feel or how they think or who they are or what color skin they have. There's no reason to even put that in your life. I mean, I always talk about making life as simple as you can, your journey. That's exactly what I'm talking about. If you have nothing better to do than to look under the umbrella and look at all the labels and think that your label is the only label it should be, you're missing out a lot in life. You're missing out on growth as a human being. You're missing, and you're losing. You're going to lose friends. You're going to lose, you know, why view things that could, I mean, I'll tell you honestly, if I was that kind of person, every person that tries to throw religion down our throat, I would be talking against, because I don't believe that. But what I do is I have to step back and say, okay, even though I don't see where that's right, that's their view. So I have, you just quit responding. You just let it go. If you like something, like it. You know, if it was, I write responses, but my responses are positive. They're reinforcing. I don't write responses about everything. And I'm not talking about a family picture or anything like that. I'm talking about getting into those stupid labels, religion, politics. Those are very, very damaging. Can be very damaging if you respond to those. So anyway, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm trying to suggest, think about how you are as a person. And it doesn't matter your sexual orientation, your gender identity, you are a human. And you try to be the best you can be. I'm I'm a trans male, FTM. I have very traditional beliefs in some ways, as far as how I treat a woman, as far as how I think a man should be. Do I impose those on other people? No. The person I thank, though, is my mother, and I thank my father if he was alive, because those are good values, and that's what we lean for is good values. Ask yourself, how do you value stuff? What do you want other people to see you as? Somebody who's always when I see derogatory remarks under a video and a video's been really good, I look at those people and go, oh my god, man, don't they get it? So this is my runoff. Um, at the end, Caleb said community helps community, and that's true. Each individual label has its battle because they want to be accepted, and they want to be accepted for who they are. We just got to stand behind each other because we were not born of the norm. To me, the norm is a female who was born in a female body and a male who was born in a male body. That's the only normal part. Not that their mentality is normal or anything, but their body, their biological body, and their mental match each other. We're not. So we need to embrace each other and give each other as much support as possible. If someone is not seeing the way you see things, you know, unless it's a kid, a young person, or an older person who's really depressed and you think you can help them, then that's fine. But just to put a remark or a response and put that person down for how they see things, that's not cool. So anyway, this is my take on Caleb's. We are all different flavors, but we all are under the same umbrella. We'll talk to you later. Bye.